Vivid Voltage is one of the most interesting sets to come out in a while because it is a new set that hopefully will change things up. We look at the biggest kind of metagame shifter in the Colossal, being able to one-shot Eternatus, being able to one-shot Pikarom, and not having any real answer by ADP into it. We'll look at that card more in depth. That is absolutely going to be kind of the meta-defining card from this set, but there's a lot of stuff going on here. We look at the promo cards that are all coming out. They have a nice array. The 4 that are in the kits, we got a Charizard. Look for this card to be significant in its price, right? So we got very, very expensive Charizards, of course, coming on in here. We got Donphan, Earthquake, 120. This attack does 20 damage to each of your bench Pokemon. And we also have Snorlax. I really enjoyed this card. Gourmandize. We got this ability here on that nice little Vivid Voltage promo. And Lugia promo with the Wind Pressure 250. Your opponent has 5 or fewer cards in their hand. This attack does nothing but significant damage. And I think about this particularly with like an ADP. Being able to do 280 for 4 energy is pretty good ROI. I mean, that's more damage output than Zacian, potentially. So Lugia, great card here. So Beedrill has this Elusive Master ability. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is the last card in your hand, you may put it onto your bench if you do draw 3 cards. So what is that reminiscent of, chat? Say it with me. Reminiscent of the Greninja GX that we had. Exactly. What I love about this set primarily is the artwork. Pokemon is one of those games that has amazing artwork. It is just so beautiful. Just so beautiful. And the newest thing to come out, we've had some, over the time that I've been playing, we've had some really great arts. So when I first started playing, the biggest art set that you could get, the very like most interesting art set was the legend pieces. You know, those were so cool. And like even the primes to an extent were cool, but the legend pieces, like that was where it was at in terms of, you know, beauty. And now we're seeing these amazing rares. Amazing rares. Just look at that. It looks like a graffiti artist. Looks like Banksy got up in here, you know, spray painted the wall. And then now we have Celebi over top of it. Beautiful artwork. And it just goes so well with the energy symbols. Like, this is a great card. I want one of these cards just to collect. And I think that is a testament to this artwork. One thing that you may not have noticed with these cards and the amazing rares is that their outlines are all the different energies that they use. So the Celebi here, outline on the bottom is green. There's the green energy grass. We have the outline of yellow, lightning energy. And then on the top here, you can just barely see it on the antenna, but very prominent on this kind of headpiece, the purple for the psychic energy color fulfillment cost. So that is another interesting thing about these amazing rares. We'll go down and showcase that in the other ones as well. Shiftry, another interesting card. So Shiftry here with the Shifty substitution. I have never seen an ability like this, and this is a really interesting one for me, particularly because of how prevalent the card Boss's Orders is. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, each supporter card in your opponent's hand has the effect draw 3 cards. This happens instead of the card's usual effect. So if your opponent tries to go for a boss, then they literally cannot. It could backfire on you, right? Because let's say your opponent actually does want to draw cards, but their only supporter in hand is a Boss's Orders, then, you know, that might actually be a benefit to them. But generally speaking, this Shiftry is really just has that interesting ability here with that Shifty substitution. Now, what I don't like about Shiftry and what has been probably harped on a lot in terms of the wall potential of a lot of different cards is that it has a 3 retreat cost. So 3 retreat cost means it can't be used with Air Balloon, and that is where I look to use this card most primarily. Like, you would want to have this set up as, you know, you use your Greedent and then you pick up your Greedent to hand and you promote your Shiftry, right? And now your opponent can't gust around the active Shiftry, but that is not going to be an option for us with that 3 retreat cost. Anyway, still an interesting card. I am definitely looking forward to it. So we also have, I don't know, just a few other grass Pokemon here just to highlight. Shaman, Flower Bearing is an interesting attack here. Flip a coin if heads, your opponent shuffles their active Pokemon and all cards and puts them on the bottom of their deck. So not only do they just get shuffled into the deck, they get specifically placed onto the bottom. So you have this flower bearing, you combine it with the Glimwood Tangle, and all of a sudden you have a 75% chance to shuffle your opponent's active to the bench. This is very interesting in the sense that Shaman is a basic. We've seen this attack like on Pidgeot, right? That would be the one that comes to mind immediately. But we see this attack on other Pokemon. But this is a basic. It'll be very, very simple to get out. Thank you so much, Jace Fan, for the 100 bits. Appreciate you a lot. It'll be very, very simple to get out. Even this attack cost, you can go like Tapu Koko Prism, and you get the colorless requirement, and then attach a grass, and you get that requirement. Gatsarude, this is probably the most interesting V, like basic V, that we have in this set for the grass type. Bind down during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon can't retreat. Great, fine. Jungle Rising is where it gets really interesting. 2 grass, 100 damage. You may attach up to 2 basic energy cards from your hand to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. If you attach energy to a Pokemon in this way, heal all damage from that Pokemon. So, reminiscent to Mega Sceptile. There you go. We got Orbital V with some very blasé attacks. This is the big one here. Orbital VMAX. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may put 1 damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon. The coolest thing about Orbital VMAX is that this does stack. So if I have an Orbital VMAX in the active and I switch it into another Orbital VMAX, then I can do 20 spread for the turn. And if I have 4 Orbital on the field, then I can switch into each one and do a 40 spread. So certainly there will be something that utilizes this Orbital as either a main attacker, which the cost for attacking is not that big, or some kind of side piece to the main attraction, like a 2/2 line I could see being in there. The Talonflame V, going to be something that you will see in Fire decks. Fast Flight, if you go first, you can use this attack during your first turn, discard your hand, and draw 6. Beautiful card. Beautiful card for Fire decks, and particularly with that 0 retreat cost. We don't see very many V Pokemon with 0 retreat costs, and certainly haven't seen a V Pokemon with this kind of setup ability that is just, you get in, get out, get on with life. Charizard. The rise of Stage 2s. Are we going to see Stage 2s come back with this Charizard? I think potentially. You look at the ability here, a consistency ability. This is something that you kind of need on a Stage 2 if you're going to play it. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put one of them into your hand, discard the other cards. The discard kind of stinks, but it is positive in the sense. Jace Fan, thank you for the 200 bits. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much, Jace Fan, for the 200 bits. It sucks in the sense that you discard the cards, you get to keep one, but you get to put Leons in your discard pile for the Royal Blaze attack. This attack does 50 more damage for each Leon card in your discard pile. So you can hit up to 300 damage with the Royal Blaze. You get a couple new tools here for Charizard. You get to use like Welder is a good one. You get the Blaze Energy is another good one to increase your HP there. Should be a competitive deck, should be a playable deck. We do have enough recovery options that the constant discard with the Battle Sense isn't going to be that problematic. Flareon, might as well talk about it just because it does have an ability. This ability is kind of repeated over the other evolutions. So we have Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon all having somewhat of a similar ability. If this Pokemon has a memory capsule attached, grass Pokemon in play have no abilities. So kind of a pseudo Garbodor in a sense, but you need a very specific tool. So will this see play? Likely not, but I don't think that this card will never make its way into a deck. I certainly think that this card, or one of the other evolutions, will find their way into some deck for some very specific reason. But, is it going to be competitive out of the gate? Definitely not. Vaporeon here, Torrential Awakening. If this Pokemon has a memory capsule attached, fire Pokemon in play have no abilities, so very similar to that Flareon, just with a different Pokemon that gets shut up, that gets shut off. The V for water is Darmanitan VMAX Galerion. Darmanitan VMAX max whiteout, 200 damage for 4 waters. This attack also does 30 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So gonna look very spicy with that goggles that you can attach to the Darmanitan. If you want to make opponents really upset in a competitive trading card game scenario, call it Darmation. Like Dalmatian, but with an R, Darmation. They will definitely, first of all, not have any idea of what you're talking about, and then when they do figure out what you're talking about, they'll be really upset because you pronounced it wrong. So we have Lightning moving on down here. The Pikachu V and Pikachu VMAX, really nice cards, just in the sense of the art. Like, you look at this Pikachu, and that is, if there was never another Pikachu, like, ever printed, like, that would be the perfect depiction of Pikachu, in my opinion. You know, it's just got a kind of a pounce stance down. The cheeks are glowing. It's like in a smiley, like, it has a very happy but aggressive attitude about it. It's weird, right? You can look at this card and say, oh yes, Pikachu is like in the zone. And you can also look at this card and say, like, Pikachu is really happy to be here, you know? So then we also have the Pikachu VMAX coming in hot with 310 health, G Max Volt Tackle. You may discard all energy from this Pokemon. If you do, this attack does 150 more damage. So 270 damage potential here with this Pikachu VMAX. We got Electrode and the promo Electrode Bazap Generator. I am sure that this will work somehow. I don't know quite what to, probably with the VMAXs. You know, you look at Electrode and Pikachu being like that perfect pair, but maybe Morpeko gets a little bit of boost from having this Electrode. Obviously, the VMAXs are the ones that I could see really benefiting from an ability like this, where you knock them out, you know, you knock your own Pokemon out, but you force your opponent to go through 2 VMAX anyway, so it doesn't really matter in terms of the prize trade. So Electrode, once during your turn, if this Pokemon is on your bench, you may search your deck for up to 2 lightning energy cards and attach them to your lightning Pokemon in any way you like. Then shuffle your deck. If you did do this, this Pokemon is knocked out. So certainly an interesting ability. And then also works really well, Rabbit Knight saying in the chat here, it's for Pikachu, and then you can stamp them. So you could go Electrode into, you know, Pikarom, and then maybe, you know, they've already taken a few prizes and you stamp them down to low, and you get that energy acceleration out of the deck. To complete the evolution trio, here's the Jolteon shutting down the water Pokemon in play with the memory capsule. All right. Ampharos V. No VMAX on the Ampharos, unfortunately, but another really nice card. I mean, this looks straight out of like an anime. Like, I could see this just being ripped right out of the anime textbook here. It looks so good. Dazzle Blast, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused. And Dazzling Spark, 120. This attack also does 30 damage to each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Another great card with those goggles. Another amazing rare. Let's take a look at this Raikou. So another thing here. Again, follow me tracing the outline. We got the grass here. Look at the outline of the mane. It is green. Then look at the lightning. It is yellow. Then look at the paw here. It is gray. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful card? I think that this is one of the most amazing cards that could have ever been produced. I love this kind of sloppy looking outside. It looks great. I wish we had a silver border, or alternatively, I wish that the art extended into the yellow border. But in any case, I think that this is a very beautiful card. An amazing shot. I should talk about the attack. This attack does 120 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So these attacks are supposed to be very difficult to get out, right? They're supposed to be very, very hard to accelerate to. But they have a very powerful attack. 120 and a 120 snipe. That's really good. That is insanely good. And you can potentially get something like this out with Turbo Patch. So look for Turbo Patch to be on the up and up when, when we're thinking about amazing rares. Manectric, high speed, interesting ability when you play this Pokemon from your hand to draw. To evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may draw 3 cards. So just a nice little potential draw power there, and you can combine that with Scoop Up Net and get that draw 3 over and over. Do I think it'll see much play? Probably not, but it's certainly an interesting card to have. Moving on down to the Psychics, we got not a ton of interesting things. People have been talking about the Bandit, but I don't particularly like the Bandit as something that will be competitively viable. Curse of Devolution. When this Pokemon is played from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may devolve one of your opponent's benched evolved Pokemon by putting that highest stage card into their hand. So, Curse of Devolution, maybe could be played with some Scoop Up Net or something like that to constantly devolve your opponent's Pokemon that, maybe it's a VMAX Pokemon that has taken a bunch of damage. You can use Bandit, get rid of the highest stage, and then boom, they automatically get knocked out. I don't love this strategy for a number of reasons. For one, it literally gives them the VMAX Pokemon back into their hand. So you know, they can play it back down on a fresh, you know, Pokemon on the bench or on the active, right? Like they can just do that. The other thing is that if you, let's say you Curse of Devolution onto, you know, it's a VMAX and then you knock out their V, well, you're taking one less prize. So there's a little bit of, you know, kind of weak synergy, I think, with the decks that people are thinking to revolve around Bandit. I don't particularly like it, but I'm sure that there will be some deck lower tier that does utilize Bandit very well. We have Dusknoir. Spectral Breach. I really enjoy this ability. All special energy cards attached to Pokemon have a colorless energy and no other effect. So things like Speed Lightning, things like Stone Energy, things like the Fire special energy, all these, like, they remove all the benefits to having them and turn them not only into just not having a benefit, but actively harming. Like, let's think about the Speed Lightning in Pikarom, right? Like, there are a lot of lightning energy attack costs for the Pokemon in Pikarom. So turning that into colorless can really affect, you know, getting a full blitz off, for instance. So Dusknoir, look for this card to see significant play in some capacity. I don't want to say like it's a tier 1 card, but I think that there are a lot of good uses for Dusknoir in the future. Yeah, so that's a good point. So QC Hawk asks, twin only counts as 1. That would be correct. Yep. Absolutely. So Polycrastinator also says, going back to the Bandit, if we still had Ditto, you would play it, but 2 cards in the deck is too big of a commitment. I agree with that one, for sure, for playing the Bandit down. We got Diancie here, the last Pokemon with the abilities. We got Sparkle Veil. As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your opponent's Pokemon... As long as this Pokemon is in the active spot, your Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks from your opponent's Pokemon. And our amazing rare, watch the art. So, Grass, let's find it. It is... Where's the green outline? We have the purple in the legs. Maybe this one doesn't follow the other conventions. I thought they... Oh, no. You can see it in the tail. The green is in the tail. But they wanted to make Zacian special. It has kind of like a... many designs here. It looks like, you know, you got some yellow here in the hilt and some orange even in the sword. So Metal Armament, attach a basic energy card from your discard pile to this Pokemon. And then Amazing Sword, if your opponent's Pokemon has any VMAX in play, this attack does 150 more damage. So going to be able to do 300 damage if your opponent has a VMAX in play. Moving into the fighting, probably the focal point of Vivid Voltage. It's kind of ironic, right? Vivid Voltage, you think electricity, but in fact, they've released like the hardest counter to electricity in the form of Colossal. So Colossal, VMAX 330 health, rock type attacker, eruption shot, 40 damage, and discard the top card of your deck. If that card is an energy card, this attack does 90 more damage. So you could do potentially 130. If you look at the various damage modifiers that we can include for fighting type Pokemon, we got Vitality Band, so you can do 140. And then we have the Stadium Martial Arts Dojo, which you can get up to 150 or 180, depending on if you're behind in prizes or not. So you can be doing 180, which is, you know, a lot. You know, you're two-shotting VMAXs, and if they have a fighting weakness like Eternatus does, then you can one-shot them with the appropriate damage modifiers. Looking at the other fighting types, what I really dislike about fighting types is they generally don't have a lot of abilities, and in Vivid Voltage that is no different. So Donphan is a heavy hitter for low energy, Earthquake 120. This attack does 20 damage to each for your bench Pokemon. So I think there's some combo there that we can, you know, see, right? Donphan with that quick attack, that only 1 energy attack. I mean, it's very reminiscent of Excadrill with a little more health and a little bit of a different, you know, downside, right? A little bit of different attack text. The amazing rare for fighting is Zamazenta. So Zamazenta Metal Armament. Attach a basic energy card from the discard pile to this Pokemon, as opposed to the Zacian, which attaches it to one of the bench Pokemon. Amazing Shield is, again, another really interesting attack. Lightning, fighting, and steel. Let's look at the lightning. There it is in the back paw. Let's look at the fighting up here in the front paws and kind of this, the beard, if you will, of Zamazenta. And the steel I don't know, kind of mixed in somewhere there. You know, I mean, I don't know, steel on this left-hand side. Anyway, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from Pokemon V Max. So still going to get hit into by Pokemon V, but you do have this shield, like Daddy, you know, the shield for the V Maxes. We got Drapion V with the Hazardous Claws. Discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Your opponent's active is now paralyzed and poisoned. So, you know, interesting. I mean, auto paralysis is something that is generally, you know, 50-50, I would say, viable, you know, and generally speaking, auto paralysis on an attack hasn't been particularly viable in the past, particularly auto paralysis when you discard energy. It's just really hard to keep these things, you know, attacking. Like, it's really hard to build up Pokemon on the bench to attack when you have to continually discard energy from your active. So Drapion, will it see play? Maybe. The answer is like probably not, but I look at a card like this being something that could potentially be used in like a Hydreigon box. We also have Garbodor, Trash Cyclone. This attack does 30 damage for each Pokemon tool in your discard pile. Then shuffle those cards back into your deck. So I don't know. People have been talking about this card as being something that could go really well with, you know, a few other cards from the set, but Trash Cyclone, there's the Whimsicott, obviously, being one of the cards that goes really well with the Garbodor. I don't know that this is particularly viable in the sense that your deck is going to have to be pretty thin to make it so that the tools don't actually cut into your consistency. I don't know. It just seems weird, like shuffling them all back into your deck and then you draw back into them again. Like, that just seems rough. I don't think that this card will be much more than like a tier 3 option. I don't think it'll be competitively viable for that. And it doesn't quite do enough damage. So I don't look at Garbodor as being, you know, the savior of one prizers at all. I think there are much better one prizers in the form of Donphan or Excadrill or Altaria. That Garbodor, I just think, has too much going on with it. Be a really good deck for a new player to kind of learn the game with, though. Steel. We got our Steelix V with the Raging Hammer. This attack does 10 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon, so could hit up to a maximum of 270, or potentially what? You could get up to 300? 300 if you have like a... Oh yeah, I guess a Cape of Toughness would. So you could get up to 320 potentially. I don't know quite how you do that. Maybe a Jinx or something. You go Donphan. You attack with Donphan, what? 30 times? And you get 300 damage on your Steelix, and then you knock out everything. Doesn't seem logical. But in any case, that is the Steelix V. We have our amazing rare for the metal type, this swooshy Jirachi. So Jirachi, Dreamy Revelation. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may look at the top 2 cards of your deck and put one of them into your hand, put the other card back on top of your deck. So Amazing Star, Psychic, and Fighting, and Metal. Let's look for it in the card art. Psychic there around the torso. We got the Fighting is kind of around the, I see it on this side here. That looks a little brown to me. And then the Metal is certainly on the headpiece here of the Jirachi. Really great ability. I want to see one in chat if you guys think that this is going to be played in decks after Vivid Voltage is released. I think so too. I think maybe as like a 1 of or a 2 of in pretty much every deck. I don't see a negative for playing a Jirachi unless you're going to go for like a routing strategy where, like, you know, we were talking about the Electrode and the VMAXs earlier. Like, maybe you don't want to have a basic Pokemon down, but it seems, you know, really, really nice to just have this pivot option in the late game. And the fact that you don't have to go to sleep like current Jirachi means that I think it will see a significant amount of play. So I like this Jirachi. Will I think it'll be a 4 of in every deck? No, I do not think that. I think it'll be like a 1 or a 2 of. It's probably not for early game, probably more for mid and late game. And just kind of like a, hey, if you can get it going, then more power to you. So certainly a card to look out for, though. We got Galerion Stunfisk, looking ugly as always. If this Pokemon is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack, put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So very reminiscent of the GX. And we have a Grip and Squeeze attack. 90 damage. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. One of the biggest menaces of this Vivid Voltage set, one of the biggest tools for ADP is Aegislash V. So Aegislash V, Sonic Edge, the attacks damage isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So why is this important? Well, we had Duraludon to do 130, 160 if you had used ADP's GX attack, but now we have an Aegislash V. It can take more hits, therefore it can do, more damage. It can do more attacks. It can attack more. It can do more attacks. It can attack more into your opponent's walls. So things like Altaria and Decidueye, boom, they just, kind of goodbye. And you have the grass resistance, so Decidueye really is just fumbling about when they're trying to take down an Aegislash V. We got the VMAX as well, also another really great card. This attack does 30 more damage for each prize card you have taken. So the longer the game goes on, the better this attack goes. I love this Aegislash. We've seen effects like this do... Duraludon did 110. You're right. So 140, of course, with that Duraludon. But the Aegislash VMAX here, with the max hack, this attack does 30 more damage for each prize card you have taken. So we've seen attacks like this in the past. We've seen them in the Salazzle GX, and that was pretty widely played when Firebox things were first starting out. This attack does 30 more damage for each prize card you've taken. So if you've taken 5 prize cards, then you're doing an additional 150. That means you will be doing 310 damage total. And towards the end of the game, that's going to be, pretty significant one-shot potential on VMAXs, only needing something like a Vitality Band or a Zigzagoon ping to be able to take knockouts on the VMAXs. Coming on down here to the colorless Pokemon, we got our Lugia, which we had featured already in the pre-release promos, and the Snorlax as well, with that Gourmandize ability. And our Rayquaza is the shining rare, or the amazing rare for the colorless set. Amazing Burst 80 times. Discard all basic energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 80 damage for each type of basic energy you discarded in this way. So Amazing Burst is quite amazing, right? You can do 240 for 3 energy. So really nice. Let's look for the energy types here. We got Grass along the nose, the beak of Rayquaza. We got the electricity around the earpiece and the hands, and we got the fighting around the tail. Very good looking card here. And we also have a little bit of a texture around the outside of the card. I just, again, love these cards. I'm really looking forward to these guys coming out. Togekiss, one of the, I would say, one of the most interesting cards. I think this is the one that VMAX outside of Colossal that has like the most potential at some point in the future. Max Glide, you may search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So, why would this see more play than something like Charizard Braixen? Well, Charizard Braixen is really dedicated to, one archetype. You got Welder, and you need to use Welder to get that set up. Togekiss, not quite the same because you have colorless and you only need 2. So you can do things like powerful colorless. You get 2 attached, you're doing 160. That's enough to 2-shot most of the VMAXs, and you get to search for 2 cards. You can power it up with like electricity, right? You can do Tapu Koko things. You could do the triple acceleration energy. There's just a lot of different ways, as opposed to the Charizard Braixen. It's like you got to go one way and one way only. It's my way or the highway. Well, not so much with Togekiss. So I think probably in the future, this card will see some competitive play, but potentially, that's down the road. I think with Pikarom being a thing, we have Celio says in the chat here, yeah, this has future potential. I would agree, but I love the ability here to search out the 2 cards. I think that this will see play certainly at some point in its lifetime. We got Trumbeak here as well. When you play this Pokemon from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon during your turn, you may look at the top 3 cards of your deck and attach any number of basic energy cards you find there to your Pokemon in any way you like. This will be a card that will be played. This will be absolutely a card that will be played. Trumbeak will be... meme decks love Trumbeak. Meme decks love Trumbeak. And honestly, like maybe amazing rare decks love Trumbeak as well. This Charging Trumpet ability, being able to energy accelerate. And we have cards like Oranguru to stack the deck. We have cards like Roadm Phone to stack the top of the deck. Those are really good with Charging Trumpet. So look for those kinds of decks to be, I mean, it should be a thing. Charging Trumpet, not a bad ability. And I would actually say that this might have even more potential in the expanded format, but we'll see. Bay, discard the top 5 cards of your deck and attach any energy cards you discarded in this way to your benched fighting Pokemon in any way you like. So Bay with the Zamazenta Amazing Rare, something that you could look into. Bay with the Colossal. I mean, she my Bay for sure. We got Beauty, aka JW Kreewall. If you go first, you may play this card during your first turn, draw 2 cards. Meemaw. We got Cara List. Search your deck for up to 2 rare fossil cards. Put them onto your bench, then shuffle your deck. Hee-haw. We got Chichester Bath. Chichester Bath. I thought this was supposed to be called Champion's Bath. In any case, all basic Pokemon take 20 less damage from attacks from the opponent's Pokemon. We got some Drone Rotom. Your opponent reveals their hand. If they do, look at the top card of your opponent's deck. Really nice card for kind of control decks. We haven't really seen a ton of control hype. You know, not many cards are coming out that are supporting a control style archetype, but we look at Drone Rotom as being one of those cards. We also got Hero's Metal. The Pokemon VMAX that this card is attached to gets 100 HP less, and if it is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, that player takes 1 fewer prize card. You cannot attach this card to a Pokemon VMAX that has 100 HP or less remaining. So basically, you can't knock out your own Pokemon VMAX. What is cool about this card is that we're kind of seeing the amulet idea from, you know, the current standard be reintroduced for Pokemon VMAX. And I like that a lot. Being able to potentially set up 3 Pokemon VMAX and then attach a Hero's Metal to one of them and force your opponent to go through 3 of the VMAX is really cool, and will be interesting to see how players utilize this Hero's Metal. League Staff. Draw 2 cards. If Wind Stadium is in play, draw 2 more cards. We got Leon. Obviously, the biggest use here is with the Charizard deck. During your next turn, this your opponent's during this turn, your Pokemon's attacks do 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Really interesting card. I like it. I mean, this is we've had Kukui in the past that has been kind of a one-up supporter, and I think Leon will see play not just in the Charizard deck, but just in decks in general. I love this card. Memory Capsule, another interesting card that comes out from this set, and it has a ton of potential. The Pokemon this card is attached to can use any attack from its previous evolution. So you think about the VMAX Pokemon. Let's say you have an Eternatus that would like to Power Accelerate in the mid game. You can attach a Memory Capsule and do that. Let's say you have a Centiskorch deck and you want to rip off an opponent's energy. You can do that with a Memory Capsule. I think primarily Memory Capsule will probably be played in Stage 1 decks, in Stage 2 decks to copy like a Stage 1 or a basic attack. But in any case, we still have this Memory Capsule, and it is worth noting that it can be used on the VMAX. Moo Moo Cheese. Moo Moo Cheese. All I gotta say. Another healing option that we have that's arguably a little bit better than Potion. We got Nessa. Put up to 4 in any combination of water Pokemon and water energy cards from your discard pile into your hand. So Nessa. Oh, Nessa. Doing that water thing. She doing that thing. Gotta stick to your brain. Ain't nothing about the thing. I don't tell my mama I ain't worried about a thing with Nessa doing her water thing. Drip Drip, Nessa, Drip Drip. Opal, flip 2 coins, search your deck for a number of cards up to the number of heads and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. Another really cool card. I really enjoy this card. Like, this is something that, you know, flip coins is, you know, you're going to have an inherent inconsistency, but I think the benefit is pretty good on the flip side, being able to, you know, search your deck for a card or 2 cards. Really cool. Also, I guess, you know, I suppose has the downside though of, you know, has the downside of just doing nothing as your supporter for turn. But if you're willing to risk it, then go for the biscuit. We got Rocky Helmet. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is in the active spot and is damaged by an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, put 2 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. So we've seen this in the past. I hope everybody has bought up their golden Rocky helmets, because this thing is going to go up to $1 billion. You heard it here on Flex Daddy Righteous channel. $1 billion card for the shiny Rocky helmet. Just kidding. Don't take that seriously. But Will Rocky Helmet see play? Probably not. It wasn't really that viable in the past, so I don't know what makes it any better now that VMAX Pokemon are a thing and have just so much more health than they used to in the past. We also have Winden Stadium. Whenever each player plays a Pokemon VMAX from their hand to evolve a Pokemon V during their turn, heal 100 damage from that Pokemon. I don't know how this is going to be used, honestly. It seems like it would be a great idea in theory, but I don't know in practice that this will see all that much play. Coming on down here to the energy, we got, I skipped right over the Telescopic Sight, potentially Luke's most favorite trainer in the set. Telescopic Sight, this attack of the Pokemon this card is attached to, do 30 more damage to your opponent's benched Pokemon V and Pokemon GX. So remember, the Galerion Darmation, right? Remember the Cramorant. You got some things that could really utilize Telescopic Sight, and certainly this card will see significant play. Aromatic Grass Energy. The Pokemon this card is attached to recovers from all special conditions and cannot be affected by any special conditions. Really nice option for grass type Pokemon. Coding Energy, as if Zacian needed any more help. We got Coding Energy. As long as this card is attached to a Pokemon, it provides a Metal Energy. The Metal Pokemon that this card is attached to has no weakness. Zacian taking no additional, ×2 weakness damage from Fire Pokemon as long as Coding Energy is attached. We got the Wash Energy. Prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to the Water Pokemon this card is attached to. So things like status effects of attacks. You got like Dragapult, Snipe, effective attack. There's a lot of different effects that Wash Energy would prevent. Very nice card for the water types. And we have Stone Energy. The Stone fighting Pokemon this card is attached to takes 20 less damage from your opponent's Pokemon's attacks. So things like, Colossal is just getting that much bigger. You already have 330 health. Attach a Stone, you effectively have 350 health. If they don't, one-shot you, then you would effectively have 370 health, right? Because they have to hit into you twice. So like the additive effect of Stone Energy is huge. I really don't think it can be understated just how good this card can be for fighting style decks. So coming in here with the full arts looking beautiful as always. We got a full art Pokemon Center lady. Look at Nurse Joy looking real cute up in this. And a couple of golden Pokemon here at the bottom and trainer cards as well. So we got that golden shiny Obstagoon. School's out for summer. I want to rock and roll all night, give it to me, Gene Simmons. And we also got Oranguru looking great. Like got that palm leaf in the hand, ready to give you some kind of like South American palm whapping in a, tent with a, I don't know what, like with the little fire and it's creating a lot of smoke and you cough it out. I don't know. I saw it on some kind of like Discovery Channel documentary once. Okay. And then we got our gold, Cape of Toughness, Heroes Medal, Memory Capsule, and Gold Telescopic Sight. Beautiful cards, all of them. Congratulations to Pokemon for a beautifully designed set. I love all of the art in the set. It's great, and it should provide a lot of competitive content for the channel. Let me know what you guys thought of that set review down in the comments below. What are you most hyped for? I'm excited to